Good morning, this is Jimmy with the Weekly Rant. I'm here live at Babylon train station. This is the starting point for the LLS TNT, which is Leukemia and Lymphoma Society team in training 108-mile bike ride. Alongside here, I have Bob Cornetta, the TNT coach for the Long Island chapter. Bob, how you doing, sir?
Good morning.
So you excited for this ride?
Ooh, butterflies, yeah, excited.
I saw you coming up this morning and walking up there. I said, I don't know. Should I talk to him now? I'm not too sure.
I guess you could be a little enthusiastic, but it's real more nerves than anything else right now.
Now you say it's more nervous, but meanwhile, this is your 10th time doing this ride?
10th time, yes.
Oh my gosh. So when you do it 10 times, is there a specific way that you plan or mentally and physically prepare differently from any other time?
Not really. You just... the training is pretty much the same no matter what ride you're on. In fact, we have a team right now in Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, doing not a similar ride, but another 100 and some odd mile ride in Tahoe. And it didn't matter. We trained together. They just separated, and we're here and they're there, so the training stays the same.
What was your training like? I know you guys had met every weekend, and you increased from anything from 20 miles to, say, 80 miles coming to the end. What was that training like going through it every week?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because when I try and promote this program and try and get people to sign on, I make sure I emphasize that we don't wake up one morning if they're not having been on a bike for 15 years and do 108 miles. We work our way up incrementally. We condition ourselves. First ride out might be 10 miles, 12, 15 miles, and we basically add on to that every week, additional miles till we get up to close to what our goal is or what the century ride is.
And you ride a lot throughout the year, I imagine, as well, to
yes.
keep up with it?
Yes.
That's fantastic. I mean, I can never imagine myself doing what you guys are doing without preparing for so long like I see you guys have done. And, my father's with the organization as well. And
yeah.
I always ask him, what does this mission mean to you and the whole journey? And that's what I want to ask you. What does this mean to you? What are some things that you've taken out of this experience after doing it for so long?
It's that, I guess the main, what I've taken out of this primarily is that I don't have it so bad. No matter how bad you think you have it in life, when you see some of these patient heroes and these survivors and these kids and what they're going through, this 108-mile bike ride is nothing. They would gladly trade places with me, and that's what I try to think about as I'm out there struggling and I'm tired and I want to give up. And I say, any of these kids, any of these patients out there would give anything to trade places with me. So that's what keeps me motivated and fulfills me and makes this so worthwhile.
I believe it was about 2 weeks ago I had met everybody out at Whoville down in Bethpage, and that was a wonderful evening because that was a night where you guys had given out awards to one another and told a few stories here and there, and one of the stories that really got me most was a story that had happened in Tahoe where a couple of guys who were involved were pushing each other along. I mean, if you're familiar with that story, if you want to just go over with that real quick.
Great story.
It really is.
It's a great story. They never get tired of telling it because one of the main characters, well, two of the main characters were very, very close to. I was very close to. One unfortunately passed away before I could really get to bond with him more, and the other was my brother-in-law on my wife's side, Rich, and Pete Macaluso, in case you don't know, is our mentor. He is our patient hero. He passed away in 2005, I believe, from leukemia. But up until his death, he was our inspiration. He was a participant. He was our cheerleader. He was our guide. He was our guiding light. And this particular incident we're talking about, he and my brother-in-law Rich were in Lake Tahoe. This is when Pete was well enough to ride. And there's a climb in Lake Tahoe called Spooner Hill, and it's a very intimidating 8-mile climb, I think at an elevation of 8,000 feet, I'm not sure. And it's a very, very difficult climb. And Pete, being a little older, a little rotund, would pedal as far as he could and then stop and catch his breath and recover. And my brother-in-law would pass him, and as they pass each other, they would repeat the mantra, "Go team," or "You can do it." I'm sorry, "You can do it." So they eventually made their way up to the top of the hill, and repeating that process, "You can do it, you can do it, you can do it." And shortly thereafter, there was my brother-in-law was on vacation or visiting schools with his daughter, and he was in one of those restaurants down south, the Western Sydney, and he was going to pay the cashier, and in the display case there where they sell souvenirs was a stone that said you can do it. So immediately it triggered something in his mind. He bought the stone, he brought it back to Long Island with him, and ever since then we've bestowed this stone to a worthy participant who we feel is worthy of carrying this stone. I think Pete was the first stone carrier, and then my brother-in-law, and then I was very fortunate to do it. Now our head coach, George Fasinelli, has done it, and a fellow named Dave Mamina, who's in Tahoe right now, is carrying the stone
just got
for
it.
us. Yeah,
Right.
He was the recipient of the stone this way, and the stone gets tucked away in a pocket or in a shirt, and it's carried with that participant from start to finish.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's an absolutely incredible story. And you're right, it's events like this that really do make us realize that we don't have it so bad, you know, and it's anything we can do to help anybody out is really not considered at all going out of our way. It's doing anything we possibly can for the cause.
Right.
Now, some goals you have for this ride. I imagine a lot of you will be riding together, and at times you'll be parting ways, of course, as people have different paces. But are there any personal goals you have set aside for this particular ride?
Pretty much just to survive, Jim. I just want to get to the finish line and have an ice cold beer when I get there. But seriously, my goal is to keep everybody safe. And at some point along the ride, Coach George and I are going to hook up and we're going to support each other as far as keeping people safe and making sure that people, if they break down, if they get a flat tire or mechanical problems, we're there to take care of it. But mostly just to get people there safely and get them to enjoy the ride and get them to come back. That's the important thing. We want them coming back.
Well, I'll be doing the 108-mile ride as well from my car, but I will be supporting you guys the whole way. I'll be making a few stops as I can safely, trying to find a spot to pull over and take some footage of you guys. And I can only wish you guys the best of luck. And I'm glad you guys came out today. This is
I appreciate the opportunity.
All right,
to get
thank
the
you
word out.
very much. Thank you. All right, again, this is Jimmy with the Weekly Rant. We're live from Babylon train station. Again, it's the starting point with a 108-mile bike ride as he's supporting his jersey right here. Thank you very much.